Many thanks for staying. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, the current Director of Technical Services of the VRA, Jonathan Amwakuba, has been appointed as a new Chief Executive Officer of GridCo. He takes over from William Amuna, who formally announced his exit yesterday. But who is Jonathan Amwakuba? Here's a brief profile of him.
Jonathan Amwakuba has worked for several years as a design engineer on several projects, including the Northern Electrification and System Reinforcement Project. He's also worked with the West African Gas Pipeline Project, specifically on pipeline development, and the Takrade 2 Expansion Project as the task manager. His other duties included negotiations for power purchase agreement on the establishment of a 126 megawatts Osono thermal power plant in Tema, Ghana. He's an international speaker on the electric utility industry and has spoken at various conferences in Europe, the Middle East and Africa. Mr. Amwakuba graduated with a Master of Business Administration in Finance at the University of Ghana, Legon. He had prior in 1985 received a BSc degree from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, specializing in communications. He's a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Engineers, a member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers of the USA, and also a member of the UPDEA Scientific Committee. He is the president of the Society of VRA Engineers.
Now, HFC Bank might be the first financial institution trying to get shareholders' approval to recapitalize. The bank, in a circular issued to investors this month, is also seeking permission to change its name to Republic Bank. Here's more in this report.
According to the circular, HFC is seeking approval to raise some 50 million cedis from shareholders. It is not clear for now whether this move was targeted at meeting initial capital level of 120 million cedis or the current 400 million cedis. Now adding a 50 million cedis to be raised to HFC's current stated capital of 96 million cedis would only lead to the levels hitting 140 million cedis. This should mean that the bank may have to raise another 260 million cedis within the next 15 months to achieve Bank of Ghana's new levels. It is likely that some other banks listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange may go this way very soon to raise more funds to help them capitalize. But the problem, whether looking at the time left to raise the funds, they can get all the targeted amount, or they might be forced to look outside to raise the funds to help them meet the new capital requirements come January 1st, 2019.
Let's now stay within the banking space. And CEO of Women World Banking, Charlotte Lily-Beidou, says increasing the capital requirement is not the only way to sanitize the banking industry. She is therefore urging a holistic assessment of the entire financial sector of the country. The sector has been confronted with several issues resulting in the collapse of UT and Capital banks. Speaking on Joy News' flagship business leadership program, the Executive Lounge, CEO of Women's World Banking, Charlotte Beidou, said it is imperative to tackle all the challenges head-on.
My problem is there are fundamental issues apart from increasing capital. If you increase capital and then you get people merging, there are acquisitions here and there. Is that the way that we want to go? Is that all? What happens to savings and loans? What happens to the rural banks that are helping in the financial inclusion? If we are saying that everybody should get huge capital before they can reach the unbanked, I am sure a lot more people will not be reached. Then we'll get to where we are. We are all dreaming of having financial inclusion agenda all the time. So to me, increasing capital is okay, but a whole financial ecosystem needs to be looked at because the penetration is still low in terms of even the universal banking, even the unbanked. What is their penetration rate? I am not sure the universal banks have even penetrated 10% of the bankable population. It is the savings and loans, the finance houses, the microfinance, the susus that have penetrated a lot, and now the telcos. So to me, increasing capital alone is not the way to go. There are other cankers that are hurting the industry that needs to be looked at.
All right, so you watch the full version of that interview with Charlotte Beidou on the Executive Lounge tomorrow, Saturday at 5 p.m. on your Joy News channel. Moving to other stories, today is World Pensions Awareness Day. As part of events to commemorate the day, the People's Pension Trust has been engaging executives of the Union of Informal Workers, UNIWA, on best ways to increase penetration of the informal pension scheme. Currently, over 1.6 million informal sector workers are not subscribed to the informal pension scheme. But CEO of the People's Pension Trust, Samuel Waterberg, believes the trend can change if government incentivizes the sector. He has been speaking with Charles Aite, who now joins me live from the office of the TUC.
The Pensions Awareness Day has been, recognized across the world. And here in Ghana at the Trades Union Congress right here in Accra, the People's Pensions Trust together with the Informal Workers Association have met to find out the best ways to streamline the sector regarding the informal pension scheme in the country today. As at now, Ghana is still having severe challenges affecting, the informal pension scheme. Of course, various causes have been related to this very fact. But we do have here with us the Chief Finance Officer of the People's Pensions Trust, in the person of Samuel Waterberg, to help us understand the real essence of a sensitization workshop here at the TUC and matters, that are crippling the informal pension scheme in the country today. Many thanks, sir, for your time here on Marketplace. So first of all, help us understand the state of informal pensions in the country today.
I think the state of pension for the informal sector is it's not something that we should be proud of. If you look at Ghana, where 12 million of our workforce are in the informal sector, and less than 500,000 of them have a pension, I think it's something that we need to do more. And we need to put all the effort that we have to get more people enrolled in the pension scheme.
Of course, speaking about the need for us to do more, we do know that private sector, including your organization, is doing everything possible to streamline this very sector, to rope in more people. How has your engagement with government been like?
I think our engagement with government is through MPRA, the regulator, and I think so far is good. What we have been doing the last year is educating people on pension. I think the education program is working quite well. What we need to do, I think the next step is that the government should step in and incentivize people who save for their contribution. If you look at other countries, what has helped a lot is that the government matches the contribution of the workers in the informal sector. So assuming if someone saves 200 Ghana cedis a year, the government should come in and match it up with 100 Ghana cedis. Because people don't want to lose that 100 Ghana cedis, they'll make sure that they save the 200 Ghana cedis. I think that is what we need to engage the government in, for the government to come on board and support the workers in the informal sector to also have a pension income.
We have been engaging various informal workers, especially those currently at the sensitization workshop, and it seems to me that they have the zeal to be a part of the informal pension scheme, but there is just no sense of structure that they could, lay claim on to, sign on to this very situation. Could this be part of the main challenges facing the sector?
Yes, I think so. So when you look at the formal sector, there we have what we call a default system. So at the end of the month, a certain percentage of your salary is taken outsourced, given to the pension company. When it comes to the informal sector, they have to deduct the money themselves. So it means that there's no structure. And we all know that the moment that you get money in your hand, you spend it. It's difficult to put money aside. So I think if we build structure, and that's what we are doing, and the government will come in and say that if you're able to put money aside, we will also support in giving the matching principle. I think it will help.
So World Pensions Awareness Day, what key message is, the People's Pensions Trust given to government in the wake of the need for there to rope in so much people from the informal sector onto the pension scheme?
What I'll tell the government, and I think the government is aware of it, is that currently also in Ghana, life expectancy is increasing. So we know that a time will come that majority of the workers in the informal sector can't continue to do the work that they are doing anymore. Now we know that these people can't also depend solely on their family anymore because of the breakdown of joint family structure. So we need to come with a scheme where people can put money aside so that when the time comes that they can't work anymore, they have money coming in. And I think how government can help to boost the sector is to come with a matching scheme, because the education is something that we are doing. And as you said, the moment that we educate people, yes, they have the zeal to join. But the question is not just joining, it's about paying consistently. And for people to pay consistently, I believe there should be an incentive for them to pay.
Thank you very much, Samuel Waterbeck. Here's the Chief Finance Officer of the People's Pension Trust, the very company that is currently sensitizing workers in the informal sector to, as part of efforts to rope in their interest into the informal sector, which currently is being faced with several challenges regarding the zeal and, of course, the span of people that are currently signed on to this very, scheme. We shall be following closely this development of Wajiri to give you close details as and when we do have them.
Thank you very much, Charles Aite, for that update. Let's now turn the attention to the insurance sector. Now, technology and innovation have sparked massive growth in Ghana's insurance industry. Currently, insurance penetration in the country is approximately 2%, making it one of the lowest in Africa. Sheila Tamaklo takes a look at the impact of technology and innovation on the insurance sector.
With a penetration rate of just 2%, insurance in Ghana is stumpy. According to the National Insurance Commission, the sector contributes just a little over 1% to GDP. As everyday individuals, we are all in one form of risk or the other, in forms of accidents and dangers. Likewise, are your homes and your business is also at risk from burglary, fires, etc. Insurance policies come in here to help you get some form of cushion should you find yourself in such unforeseen circumstances. Now, per industry standard, the ideal rate is 10 to 11% penetration for every developing country. In Ghana, we have just 2% penetration rate. What it implies is that should there be any trouble or any kind of unforeseen circumstances for an individual, only 2 out of 100 Ghanaians have any form of insurance to protect them or to cushion them. Insurance is explained in simple terms as an arrangement by which a company or the state undertakes to provide compensation for a specified loss, damage, illness or death in return for payment of a stated premium. Examples of insurance policies include health insurance, motor insurance, and life insurance. Despite the relief it provides, few Ghanaians are signed on to one form of policy or another.
What is causing a low penetration? First and foremost is education, lack of education. And what's causing lack of education? Maybe we insurance practitioners are not educating potential clients enough. Maybe the government is not doing that enough. Liquidity is low, I must say. Liquidity is low. Insurance is not your first investment tool. So people will take it later when there's high liquidity, and so liquidity is low. That could also be the second reason why penetration is low. The third reason also is the fact that we do not have interesting products as insurers. I mean, our products are very rigid. Some of our products do not satisfy the needs of potential clients.
Between 2010 and 2014, the insurance industry saw a 28.2% annual growth rate. But the sector looks promising with evidence of economic growth and an increasing middle class, not forgetting the role of innovation.
It's good to be insured. That is why it's compulsory that we insure our cars, we insure our houses and stuff. Personally, I believe in paying SNET and insuring yourself through the system, through SNET. So it's good.
Anything can happen. So in case something happens and you have maybe life insurance or something, you can be assured that definitely you get some compensation or something to help you out.
There have been deliberate attempts to increase awareness among the populace. Mobile insurance, for instance, has gained popularity, and as of June 2015, the country recorded a total of 2.5 million mobile insurance policyholders, thanks to telcos, social media, and on-the-ground agents.
A lot of we practitioners are looking at, and many have employed new ways through technology. I mean, I know claims are being administered online now. Claim payment is being done through mobile money now. Request for policies and policy documents is being done online now, and that is the in thing now. So technology is helping. Technology is improving claims, but it's also important to know that technology can increase penetration in a certain market segment, and that market segment still needs to be educated. And that's where we need, first and foremost, to use technology to educate people.
Bank assurance was also introduced in 2007 to allow banks sell insurance products to clients alongside their traditional banking products. Bank assurance has provided increased visibility for the banked population, which primarily comprises the middle and upper income segments of the populace.
So basically, bank assurance is a collaboration between the banks and insurance companies. And the banks are selling insurance to their customers. Now, what bank assurance can do to increase insurance penetration, or to assist in doing that, is that now the insurance company that partners the bank has access to the customers of the bank, and so they can reach them with insurance products, which perhaps could have been difficult for the insurance companies alone reaching these customers. And don't also forget that largely the banks have a very large footprint. They have many branches across the country, which the insurance companies do not. And so they can leverage on that to be able to reach all these customers in all these scattered areas to sell insurance to them.
In recent times, the regulator has announced a series of reforms that aim to accelerate the development of the sector. Talk of increment in capital requirements, as well as measures to ensure prompt payment of claims.
The Commission would actually enforce the rules to the teeth. Sometimes when you apply the rules, people don't like it, but it's actually for their own good. The Commission's responsibility is not only to the shareholders, but also to the ordinary people on the street, the insurers and the innocent third parties. So we owe it upon ourselves to make sure that companies that operate in the system are really solvent enough to handle, to pay claims that will come their way.
Despite these reforms by the National Insurance Commission and interest shown in the market by foreigners, stakeholders believe there's room for more growth. With the right reforms and policies, the industry is bound to make positive headwinds. This is confirmed by Ernst & Young's survey in insurance opportunities in sub-Saharan Africa, which ranked Ghana among countries with the highest potential for growth in insurance premiums. The 2017 edition of the Oxford Business Group report has also projected an annual growth rate of 8.5% for the sector in Ghana between 2014 and 2018.
That was a feature by Sheila Tamako. Meanwhile, the Insurance Commissioner, Justice Yaofori, is proposing a 100% increase in the minimum capital requirement for the insurance industry. He noted that currently, the industry does not have the capacity to take up insurance covers for many businesses in the country, a situation affecting the penetration level. There are plans by the regulator to increase the capital requirement from the current figure of 15 million Ghana cedis to over 30 million cedis. Justice Ofori shared this view in an interview with Joy Business after a roundtable discussion at the Ministry of Finance.
Minimum capital requirement, that is 15 million cedis. Is this enough to absorb the business? There's a lot of business in Ghana, but because insurance companies don't have the capacity, it's going. My proposal of 100%, I mean, the government can look at it and probably decide to make it even bigger than 100%, maybe 50%, how do you call it? Maybe instead of 30 million, it could be 50 million, I cannot tell. But I think we should think of increasing capacity. The industry, we don't want to close down companies. We want to help them to stand on their feet. Because you look at the effect of it, on employment, it creates unemployment. So our role is to help them to stand on their feet, and we're going to do what is right to keep them in business. If we don't do what is right, they'll be out of business. We should be looking at the informal sector. The informal sector is very big. We're talking of low-income people. And if we can provide them with micro-insurance, it means that penetration will be good. Agriculture is actually the largest source of employment for a lot of Ghanaians. So if we can actually provide agri-insurance, that would also help with the penetration rates.
Jonathan Amwakuba says he would be putting in measures to consolidate gains made by the previous chief executive, William Amuna. He disclosed this to Joy Business after he was sworn in today as a member of the Gridco board.
I believe that you heard the speech of the Deputy Minister. We were talking about the wholesale electricity market, which has not been established yet. My focus is to get it established to run properly. The reason being that we think that if we have the wholesale electricity market established properly, it will drive tariffs down and consumers would pay less electricity bills, which would make everybody happy. It will also make production of electricity in Ghana very competitive, and we can export to the outside markets, the countries surrounding the country, like Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and even to Mali. You know, everybody wants cheap electricity. Everybody wants cheap electricity, and I believe that if we're able to drive the cost of production down, we'll be able to launch into the export market.
And that was the newly appointed CEO of Gridco, Jonathan Amwakumpa. Let's now take a pause here for an investment tip.
Investment Tips is brought to you by Daffing Finance, Deposits, Investments, Borrowings and Advisory.
It is important to know that the longer you invest, the more money you're going to make. Starting your investment journey at an earlier age would enable you to accumulate more money because of the compounding rates of return. You've got a long way to go. Stay on the path. It's okay to stray, but it's always better to plan your route, including preparing for detours and roadblocks.
Investment Tips was brought to you by Daffing Finance, Deposits, Investments, Borrowings and Advisory.
Thanks for staying. Welcome back. Let's now cross over to the Ashanti region, where the Ghana Export Promotion Authority has indicated plans to make the Ashanti region an export powerhouse. The initiative is to identify new products with significant export potentials in the district of the region. Deputy Manager Eric Chumboafo advises government to avoid over-reliance on the oil find at the expense of non-traditional exports. He spoke at a sensitization conference on the One District, One Export product for metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the Ashanti region.
The remaining 4 regions in the northern part of Ghana are targeted in the second phase of the workshop after the first had 6 covered. The conference is part of a nationwide consultation to solicit input for execution to complement the district industrialization concept. Deputy Manager Eric Chumboafo admonishes government to avoid over-reliance on oil at the expense of non-traditional exports.
We must, however, bear in mind and take the necessary precautions not to go to the path of the states that have neglected other sectors after discovering oil. Non-traditional exports provides more jobs and security than oil will ever do. And the caution is to move away from the proverbial Dutch disease. The key tenets of the National Export Strategy document advocates the identification, development, and promotion of at least one exportable product per district. This should seamlessly dovetail into the main government's overarching policy initiative of the One District, One Factory industrialization concept, which will basically be an opportunity for us to resource the various factories that would come under the One District, One Factory.
Mr. Chumboafo says the authority will strengthen regional offices to ensure effective trade facilitation. He says an effective implementation of the initiative in Ashanti region will make it a powerhouse for export.
So far, change is manifesting in the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Our vision is to establish regional offices with district representatives who will see to the full implementation of the One District, One Export product concept. We are looking forward to strengthening our presence in this region to be able to unleash the full potential of the Ashanti region. We want to see the full implementation of this project to help us achieve the target we set ourselves to develop and promote exports vigorously to achieve a $10 billion value in the next 4 years. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our task here today is simple and clearly defined. We need to select a product or service with immense export potential from each district of this region. This region is vast and blessed with immense potentials for agribusiness, services, and related export value chains. This region is known for its land and forest resources. This will challenge us to do everything within our power to transform this region into an export powerhouse. The Ghana Export Promotion Authority, under the new leadership, is also committed to redeveloping the Kumasi office. I'm sure some of you have seen the office, into an ultra-modern trade facilitation office to be able to do what we are asking all of you to do.
Prince Apia reporting.
And back in Accra, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Service has received 2 mobile laboratories to facilitate inspection of items for valuation purposes. The mobile laboratories were jointly donated by the Netherlands Embassy in Ghana and the GIZ under the Good Financial Governance Program. Speaking to Joy Business after the handing over ceremony in Accra, Head of Customs Laboratory Anthony Mensah noted the vans would ensure the security for test samples and also speed up the processes of the paperless port system.
The original lab is there. That is at the airport. But we want to make sure that we get to importers or to our borders and stations whenever they make a request for us to draw samples for analysis at our lab. So by getting these vans, we'll be able to move them to wherever we are called, either the borders or the stations. And we have equipment, basic equipment in the van that can be used for easy and some of the analysis. So it will help in facilitating testing of our samples and also facilitating trade. In a week, the lab sometimes in a week does about 80 containers of ethyl alcohol. Now, they have to draw samples from there and bring it to the laboratory in Accra. Then the results are sent there. But this time around, we have a wine lab and a small equipment on this one, which can be taken to Tema. So you take it to Tema, and that 80 containers can be worked on within 2 days. The next day, 48 hours, it should be done. So it will make sure that working on those samples, we improve on it, and it works faster. This request was made before the paperless port, project started. But with this coming, it will really help, because this time around, we can move it to Tema, do our analysis there, and clear it right there without coming. So it's part of it. And now it's a customs lab that has been mandated to draw samples with the regulatory agencies whenever they are doing the joint examination. So with that, it will also help to clear and facilitate the paperless.
And that will be a wrap for this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace, and of course, a wrap for the week. My name is Emmanuel Apwachi. Many thanks for your company, and do join us again same time next Monday. In time, have a great weekend. Good afternoon.